But I can't give up the opportunity because of our panel tonight having this question from Tamara Pattinson, please. Tamara Pattinson.
In the event of a Labour minority government, will Scotland be ruling Westminster?
Will Scotland be ruling Westminster when the SNP, as they hope, diminish Labour sufficiently in Scotland and hold a balance of power? Caroline Flint, do you anticipate a position where Scotland and the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon here?
Well, Tamara, I'm working to make sure we have a majority Labour government, but I will say this to you. Look, the outcome of the general election is either going to be David Cameron forming a government or Ed Miliband forming a government. And the truth is the general election in Scotland is not really necessarily about the SNP fighting with Labour, because the truth is every SNP vote will put David Cameron closer to running the country.
And do you think you could cooperate with the SNP in government?
Look, we are fighting for a majority government. That's
I know
what
that.
we're going
That goes
to do.
without saying.
And what I've said, I think I've been quite clear. What I think I've been quite clear is every vote for the SNP is more likely to put David Cameron in government than it will Ed Miliband.
All right.
Well, some people might want that, but that is the truth of it. If you want a government that is progressive, if you want a government that's going to deal with things like the bedroom tax and support
we don't want the manifesto.
Then you vote Labour.
We don't want the manifesto on this programme. Thank you very much. There'll be other chances for that. But I want to let me put it to Nicola Sturgeon. Alex Salmond said Scotland needs to turn Westminster upside down when he announced that he was going to Westminster. If you hold the balance of power, how will you use that power, and do you intend that to be the position? Do you hope that'll be your position?
Well, for more than half my life, Scotland's been governed by Tory governments that we didn't vote for. I guess that's the experience of many people in the north of England as well. So yes, it would be really nice for Scotland to have a louder voice in Westminster after the general election, which they will get if we vote SNP. Now, the SNP would never put the Tories into government, but we could maybe stop Labour implementing Tory policies, and I would hope SNP MPs at Westminster would make common cause with other progressive voices across England. We could link up with people who, like us, want to see an alternative to Labour-Tory austerity. We could link up with people who want to see an end to policies that penalise the vulnerable. We could maybe make common cause with people in England who think, like I do, that privatisation of the National Health Service is wrong. So a progressive alliance at Westminster, I think, would be a good thing for Scotland, but it would also be a good thing for many people across England as well.
You failed to mention... You failed to mention you used to get your budget through in Scotland with the support of the Conservatives.
Exactly.
So you can't put your, get on your high horse about the Conservatives because you worked with them in Scotland.
We were a minority government, and we had to build alliances for budgets and for other policies. Sometimes the Labour Party voted for us on policies. And you know what? Minority government was actually a good experience for Scotland, because it meant that governments had to win arguments. They couldn't just rely on votes. So,
and would you, just to clarify one thing, would you be voting as Scottish MPs on every issue that some people now think affect only England?
Where issues are genuinely English-only issues, I think there is a very strong case for English votes for English laws. But, you know, there are some issues which are often characterised as English-only issues that are not really, because every time...
Where would your red line be? What would you count as something where you would not vote?
Well, I was going to give you an example in terms of why we would vote in some things like health, for example, because decisions that are taken about the English health service that affect the budget of the English health service have a direct knock-on effect
where would you
to
not
Scotland's
vote?
budget. Well, things that are purely...
Just one thing. Give me one example.
You know, the fox hunting ban that was passed a while ago was only England. There will be other things that are only English-only votes, and we wouldn't vote on them. But, you know, surely people would understand that Scottish MPs have to vote to protect the budget that Scotland has, and that's what SNP MPs would do.
Michael has the
English tax. Look, we know Nicola has been very articulate on this subject. She says that if she was or Alex Salmond was in London propping up Ed Balls and Ed Miliband, then she has said she will screw £180 billion out of the Labour government for her support. And that means, that's what she said, and that means that all of you as taxpayers are going to be paying that much more money. We'll have that much more debt in order that Scotland can get even more money from the British and the English than they're already getting. That's what she said.
Come on. Norman Lamb. Northern Land. Briefly, if we would. We're coming to the end here. And we can debate this again and again, no doubt.
Self-evidently, a party that is intent on the breakup of the United Kingdom cannot, it seems to me, act in the interests of the United Kingdom. And the thought, therefore... And the thought, therefore, of the Scottish nationalists having an influence in the next Parliament or being part of the government, God forbid, absolutely horrifies me.
OK. And Duncan Valentine.
What was the question?
The question. I think we've all forgot the question. It's, will Scotland be ruling Westminster if there's a Labour minority government? Will the SNP, in effect, be ruling?
Well, I hope not. I hope we have one party run this country and not a coalition again after the May elections. But I'd like to know what Nicola would do if Scotland has the right to vote on its income tax. Will it vote on English income tax?
If we had total control over income tax, but that's not what was being proposed. You know, things that impact in Scotland, then Scottish MPs, if what we were told during the referendum by politicians like these was true, that Scotland is a valued part of the UK, then surely we've got a right to vote in Westminster on things that affect our interests. And we need people there who are going to stand up and be strong in defending Scotland's interests.
How does English income tax levels affect Scotland?
Well, because we're not getting complete control over income tax in Scotland, so decisions that are taken on England and Westminster on income tax affects the budget that Scotland's got.
I think it's just fox hunting.
All right. All right. We've got to stop.